I certainly with the kids.
Hi, everybody. Tim Hughes here. I'm the co-founder and CEO of DLA Ignite. With me today, I have Alex Lowe. Alex, hi. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Tim. It's my
Good.
son's 2-year-old birthday today, so it's going to be a crazy afternoon later on. So we've got peace and quiet this morning.
Good. So tell everybody, first of all, where they can get hold of you. Where are your internet? Where do you hang out on social media?
Where do I hang out on social media? Pretty much everywhere. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Alexander Lowe. You can find me on Twitter at Alexander_Lowe. You can find me on Instagram, digital_Alexander Lowe. You can find me on Facebook, Alexander Lowe. You can find me on TikTok, even digital_Alexander.
We may get you back to talk about that another time, but and you also do an Ask Alex, hashtag Ask Alex video every Friday, don't you?
Yeah, you can follow hashtag Ask Alex on everywhere really, but on LinkedIn primarily. So I do a short 60-second video every Friday where I just answer a question that has been asked of me that week, or someone's made a comment in a workshop we run with a client, and I just reflect on it and then share my views, sometimes in a slightly unorthodox way.
Yeah, it's worth looking out for. So in terms of some context, so you've actually been social selling for a long time. You actually worked at JLL and helped with the rollout of social selling there.
Yeah, that's correct. I guess that I've been doing this since this concept, or since I first came across the concept through LinkedIn and their Sales Navigator product, which was 7-8 years ago now, I think. And then took a few licenses at the law firm I was at, then joined JLL. And that's correct, rolled out the first ever social selling program globally in the commercial real estate sector, and with great success. Hard yards, learnt a lot, made mistakes, but at the end of it, first full 12 months, we generated 500,000 net new and built a pipeline of 4.9 million through Sales Navigator, through LinkedIn, and through social.
Fantastic. And you do social selling end to end. So you do prospecting with social selling, and you use social throughout the whole of the sales process.
I think it's an interesting sort of statement. I do social selling. I don't really see myself as doing social selling. I'm just implementing modern sales tactics and techniques around, absolutely right, Tim, prospecting, meeting, and then once I'm in the sales process, it's the sales process that you and I have been in for 20 years, 30 years, dare I say it, Tim? You're slightly older than me, but it's just kind of how I now go about the end-to-end process of selling using social.
Cool. So in terms of this, the discussion, what I wanted to do was drill down on some of the terms that people use that they get bandied about on social. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people actually don't understand what it means. And this isn't about a debate about whether LinkedIn is Facebook or Facebook is LinkedIn. It's more about what is it that what is good behavior on LinkedIn, mm-hmm. and what is it that will help you drive something forward. So what will it enable you to get a next action, a meeting, a coffee, a discussion, mm-hmm. a presentation, and how can we use that in sales? So the first term that I've got is be relevant. What does that mean to you, Alex?
What does that mean to me? That's quite a big question, I guess. But it's all about, we always focus on outputs. So you need to understand who is your audience. Who are you marketing to? Who do you want to talk to? Who's going to buy what you sell? So assuming that you understand that, and we work with organizations where sometimes that's quite a taxing question for them. Different argument altogether, or different debate altogether. But assuming you understand who your intended audience is, then it's understanding what is going to be relevant for them, that is going to be of interest for them, that is going to draw them to want to start a conversation with you. So when we talk about be relevant, it's not be relevant for yourself. So I don't want to know what is relevant to you. You need to be talking about what is relevant, of interest, the topic of the day, of the hour, what's happening.
So give me an example with one of your clients. What would you do to be relevant?
So I focus primarily on professional service space because that's my background, lawyers and accountants. So all the vernacular, so the language, the context is written in their world, and I talk to them, much like we're having this conversation now in a one-to-one, albeit over video. I have a conversation online with the masses, but I treat it as if I were having a one-to-one conversation with a person. So I make sure I'm talking their language, basically.
So you say things like business development rather than sales.
Exactly.
But you talk about. Sorry.
So exactly, business development. If you're a managing partner, read this. If you're a partner at a law firm, this is going to be of interest to you. I talk about general counsel rather than
eminence, those sort of things.
Exactly.
And you also pick up on the business issues of the day.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because what you want to be doing is getting people to engage with you, because you are evidencing to them that you understand what is happening in their world first, not that all you're interested in is just selling whatever product and service you've got.
So if we go back, well, even today, when we go for a meeting with the client and we talk face to face, in effect, what we're trying to do is evidence the fact that we're an expert. Yeah. And we do that face to face.
Yeah.
But what we're doing is that we're now doing it. We can do that on social. So even before the meeting.
Indeed. Yeah. And that can be across any medium. And this is the beauty of social. It's like, you mentioned LinkedIn, but actually the social media platform is irrelevant. Understand where your audience is. That dictates which social media platform you're going to be on, which dictates content to a certain, i.e. your messaging to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, you've got to make it relevant for your audience, because we all know if it's not of interest to me, the person that's scrolling through the feed, what do? They just scroll straight past.
Yeah. Okay. So promote. What do we mean by promote?
Oh, that's a loaded word, that, isn't it? Because immediately you think of kind of paid advertising or sponsored advertising or email campaigns and promote. And I think that what we mean by that is that we're not promoting it in a way of, hey, look at me, I'm a brilliant person that you must talk to. It's more around how I see it and how I use it. You are being consistent. So it's being consistently present online, wherever that might be, so that people will bump into you organically, randomly, not randomly, which we can go into how the mechanics of that does or doesn't work. So it's the consistency of your message, but it's going back to your first point of being relevant and not kind of the jazz hands, hey, look at me, here I am, I'm wonderful type sort of promotion.
So it's about not being boastful.
Yeah.
And also it's about making sure that you're constantly in. So people are scrolling through, your post lasts for 1 second, even less than that. What is it that's going to make you go, oh, that's interesting?
Exactly. It's what we refer to as creating the pause effect online. So someone goes, scroll, pause. Oh, I'm now engaged. Scroll, pause. That's what we're trying to do.
And your consistency is your, like an example is your Ask Alex, which is every Friday, even when you've been on holiday, pretty much at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. Sometimes it's different if you're in a meeting, but pretty much at that time, every Friday, you've put out a piece of content.
Certainly for things like that, or podcasts or things like this, yes, if you can create a consistent approach to that, but it's also ensuring that you are, if I just did that every Friday and nothing else, then I'm not being consistent online. I'm always dipping in and out of the conversation, even if it's just having a conversation, so a like or commenting on someone else's post during the course of the day, during the course of the week. So you're just keeping things ticking over. You're kind of tickling the algorithm, if you will, to keep you just front of mind for your existing client base and for new people.
Okay, so that moves us on to engage.
Yeah, engage. I'm engaged. You're engaged. What does this mean?
What does that mean? Because I think there's a lot of I talk to people and they merrily play around with Facebook and discuss the today's big issue or whatever that is, and then when they get to LinkedIn, they get completely scared because they might post or say the wrong thing.
It comes back to kind of a social network. So it's the social bit of this. And much like you have a conversation about, for example, my son's birthday on Facebook, we're talking about it amongst the family. There's engagement going on, conversation happening, people wishing happy birthday and so on. Same principles, same rules apply on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook in a public perspective, on Instagram, even on TikTok. have a conversation. If you start to engage with somebody in conversation, which is what ultimately this is all about, that then helps you with the consistency, but also the more the conversation you have, the more people get to know you, the more that you also learn, because you find out what other viewpoints are going on out there, other conversations. And it's the social bit of the social network. Just engage in conversation, much like you and I are now
doing now. And that's engaging sometimes is about liking something.
Yep.
Because if you see an article and you go, yeah, I like that, you like that. Even express an opinion.
Yep.
But the key thing is generally on say LinkedIn, it is a professional network, and what we're looking for is people to be. I always say play nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. So I get this question a lot around what do I say and do. I was like, well, what would you say or do in a business meeting? Well, this. Well, then just say that online. You know, however you present yourself in a professional capacity, in a business meeting, in front of your peers, presenting on stage at a conference, when you're on the train to work, all this kind of stuff, when you're in your professional capacity, that's how you should engage. So don't do anything that you wouldn't want on the front page of a newspaper or anything your parents would be disappointed in.
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of the prospecting process, that's about just as you would proactively go out and engage with people by using the phone or the email. So I'll get somebody who I don't know sending me an email, and they're quite happy to do that.
Yeah.
Or somebody who doesn't know me will ring me up. In terms of the prospecting process on social, is that about going to people you don't know and engaging with them on social?
Yeah, it's a blend of everything, and this isn't, and you know, to be 100% clear, this isn't an and/or conversation. You know, social actually stitches all of this together into that entire end-to-end process. But it's engaging or commenting or liking on someone's post that you don't know, but you'd quite like to get to know them because you might be able to sell them something. So just start that conversation. Even if they don't know you, it doesn't matter. They don't know how far and wide their post has gone on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a public networking social media platform. By all means, send someone a connection request. Ideally, personalize it, show you actually care. But you know, we see what's happening there in terms of people just sending blind connection requests, and we accept. Go and follow somebody on LinkedIn if you're not comfortable in doing that. They then get a notification. But much like if that person doesn't engage back, don't take that as a slight on you. You move on to the next one, and you move on to the next one, and you move on to the next one. There are 675 million people on LinkedIn alone. So somebody is going to say, yeah, I'll have a conversation with you. Or in an ideal world, if you're doing everything that we've talked about before in terms of being relevant, engage, etc., what will start to happen, and this will start to happen, they will come to you. They will want to connect with you because you are relevant, you are engaging, you are interesting, and you look like somebody who can help them solve a business problem. So actually, they will come to you rather than you going to them.
And that's one of the interesting things I always find about social is the fact that traditional selling, legacy selling, there's all this time is wasted at the top of the funnel talking to people that are never going to buy. Whereas what you're able to do with social is actually do things that enable you to make sure that you're talking to people, or most of the people, that will probably buy.
Yeah, exactly.
Efficiency saving.
Indeed. And then, you know, once you start those conversations, of course I send emails. Of course I have to tell the conversations. Then I have to go out and meet these people and have a face-to-face conversation. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is move the conversation from social, kind of this online, you know, thing around us, to actually this, what you and I are doing now in the kind of virtual sense, or in the physical sense, where you go into their reception and then you have an hour meeting with them discussing about what it is they've seen online that you're now discussing further.
And just to clear that up, I've had people say, well, social selling is no use to me because I have to go and meet people. And so, you know, so from as soon as you have a conversation with somebody online, how soon do you take it offline?
as quickly as I am able to,
Yeah.
but also as quickly as that person is comfortable in doing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this is, it's not, their time is as valuable as your time. So, timing is everything. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes it can be immediate. Someone goes, oh my God, we need to get you in, come in to meet. Sometimes it can take a couple of weeks to get those meetings in the diary because things go on. But from my perspective, I want to try and have a physical conversation with that individuals as quickly as I am able, because then once I'm in front of them, I can then evidence what it is that I do far more easily. So they've understood, okay, I get that, but I now want to find out more. Okay, let me come and actually talk you through it, and I can make it specific to what your particular ask is. And I do recognize, of course, there are SDRs out there or sales roles out there where you don't actually need to physically meet someone. You may do the entire process, and the entire deal is done, through Zoom or Crowdcast, like we're doing now, telephone conversations, email conversations, whatever your sales process or method is. Social can be part of that, because social is just about starting the conversation online and then bringing that person into whatever your sales process is.
So, why do you create content? Why do you find time to create content?
So there's a post about this yesterday around sellers shouldn't create content, and then quite some interesting debate around this. What is content? I mean, this is the thing. It could be a video. It could be a podcast.
Yeah.
It could be just like, you mentioned just liking a post on LinkedIn because you found it interesting. That is all creating content. Some of it takes zero time or effort at all, like a like. The next iteration of that is commenting on that post. This is interesting. The next iteration of that is finding that article, sharing it yourself into your news feed with some commentary. This is really interesting, Reed, because it raises these 3 points. That's creating content, through to I want to write an article or a blog post, be it on your proprietary website, be it on LinkedIn, be it wherever you host it. That takes more time and thought process, and some people aren't comfortable writing. That's cool, doesn't matter. You could create a podcast. That takes more time and thought process to actually plan and do. You could do what I do. Bizarrely, the hashtag Ask Alex videos are one of the easiest pieces of content to actually physically create. What is the difficult bit is the thought process and making it kind of different each week. But this thing about sellers shouldn't create content, I think, is a big misnomer, because my view is if they can create good content and it works, then allow them to create content, provided, back to your earlier point, it's relevant. There's no point in them creating content about what they did at the weekend because they want to talk about what they did at the weekend if that's not going to engage the audience who is going to buy what they do. So don't create content for content's sake. Create content to be relevant for the audience who you want to engage with.
So you created a video last week.
I did,
Alex. It took what? How long did it take you to create it?
10 minutes max.
10 minutes. So that's doing the video, which is a minute, and putting the subtitle, which is the text at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you've had how many views on that now?
So this is kind of an anomaly in terms of what I do. Normally I get between 1,000 to 5,000 views, but I went a little bit unorthodox. I've been unorthodox on some of my videos, but this we're currently tracking at 23,000 views. Okay,
so you've taken 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's a minute long, and you've turned it into 20,000 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's quite a big efficiency saving.
It's a huge efficiency saving. Now, 20,000 people aren't going to buy what I'm going to do, but I've left 20,000 voicemails. That's how I look at it.
So when you said you've left 20,000 voicemails, what do you mean?
So how I look at it, so we go back to kind of the normal kind of engagement that I get, because this isn't, I don't really focus on the volume of the numbers. It's actually the who is engaging. But I get between 1,000 and 3,000 views on these videos, let's say. Now, we all know on LinkedIn that a view counts once somebody's watched the video for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So someone could watch it for 3 seconds and scroll on and go, not for me. So let's go the lower end of the figure, 1,000 voicemails. 1,000 people bother watching and listening to what I say, which is between, I said, usually 60 seconds, because I had to get it to work on TikTok as well. So that means someone has heard my voice, they've seen me as we are now, and they have listened to what I've got to say. I can't leave 1,000 voicemails a week. But the beauty of this is that I am not dictating when these people listen or watch my video. If they want to watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning, they can watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning. If they're based in Brazil, brilliant, they're based in Brazil. The key thing is are those people likely to want to engage and buy what I do? Now, I know that this is working because I will go to marketing and business development conferences within professional services, even outside of that. I have people coming up to me who I've never met in my life, who aren't even connected to me on social, and they go, I love your #AskAlex videos. I'm like, bingo, it's worked.
You know, if we go back to the days of cold calling, you know, you ring someone up, you pitch to them, they hear what you're about. That's very similar to getting someone to actually look at your LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile is written as ours is written, and someone comes along, you know, they will see who you are, what you stand for, what your beliefs are, and in effect, what your company and what your product is.
Yeah.
And you know, we know that 97% of the people in the marketplace are not buying right now, but they may be going, do you know, when I want social selling rolled out in my business, I'm going to give Alex a call.
Yeah.
Or they'll be sitting in the pub one day and someone says, I need to do something about social selling, and they'll go, ask Alex.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Absolutely. But let's just be clear in terms of, because we get this a lot. You know, your LinkedIn profile is your anchor point. You're not going to win business because of an amazing LinkedIn profile. Let's just be 100% clear on that. It is your anchor point. It's there if people want to research you. It helps from a search perspective. But I follow a number of people on LinkedIn. I have never, ever read their profiles because I don't need to, because of the content that they share and engage with is adding value to me and is useful to me to help me think differently about things that I'm doing. So because I just want to be clear on the profile bit. It is a hygiene factor. It is important, but you're not going to win business because of it.
Yeah. So finally, you actually use the term adding value.
Yeah.
What do people mean by adding value? Because a Rolls Royce is a value item, and a plastic bag's a value item. And
we see lots of, I remember my previous life varying organization. We need to add value to the client. Well, do we actually know what the client finds valuable? To your point, it could be they need a plastic bag because they're in Sainsbury's and they need to put their shopping in it. It could be that they've won the lottery and now they need help in buying a Rolls Royce. It goes full circle to back what we were saying at the beginning. Understand your audience, and actually, dare I say it, go and have a conversation with them. Go and talk to your existing clients. Have a physical conversation with a human being and go, don't even use the word add value. What's used? Because the minute you start saying that, they'll default to, well, I want this freebie, that freebie, which is all bollocks. It's what is useful for you? What is helping you? What are we doing that is helping you think differently? What are other clients that you work with in our space or different markets altogether that are doing that are helping you think differently? And if I go back to things like my law firm days, so for example, adding value to one client could be, I want a weekly update on the matters, so the instructions that your legal team are working on. Another client in exactly the same industry may want monthly updates on the legal matters are working on. Some may want a full breakdown of narrative, some may want a breakdown of WIP. So just because that client wants weekly updates on what we're doing doesn't mean the next client wants weekly updates on what we're doing, because that might actually annoy them. But the only way you actually find this out is by going and talking to human beings. And I do fear that people are using social email as a way to hide behind. Oh, I've done that. I've done the post. Marketing asked me to share this value add research piece of paper which no one's going to read. Therefore, I've done the value add. Well, no, you haven't. You've just spammed the market with stuff that people are not going to read. Go and talk to your clients and actually ask them. And I think you'll be quite pleasantly surprised that it's probably the simple things that genuinely add value to your clients, not the big ticket stuff.
Alex, that's been fantastic. We've talked about being relevant, promoting, engaging, being personal, and adding value. Remind everybody where they can get hold of you.
I'll just put my name as Google social selling, and you'll find me somewhere.
You're seen quite a lot on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's probably in the majority of the audience there. I'm also on YouTube as well. So, but yeah, find me on LinkedIn in the first place.
You're Alexander, aren't you on
YouTube? Yeah, Alexander Lowe.
Yeah, fantastic. Wish Max a happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
What are you doing?
What am I doing right now? I'm about to go into town to meet with a prospect base that came inbound from social. Birthday. And then I'm going to come back, and then we've got a birthday party for him. So a bunch of 2-year-olds will be tearing around the house this afternoon.
Right. Are you dressing up as anything, or
not planning on it? Maybe it's hard.
It's been really insightful. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Tim. Thank you as always.
Hey, yeah. Take care. Bye.
Bye now.